Well, hey, howdy, hey, and welcome to the marvelous TMA ODDC Q&A video. You guys had questions and my characters have answers, so let's go ahead and get started. This is gonna be a long one. To all, what is your favorite hobby?
Well, I just came back to life and kind of got right to work. Haven't really had time to find a hobby per se. Does messing with squishy count?
No, it does not! I like, sewing in my free time.
Sewing? Really? Why would you need that skill?
I don't know, it's fun, okay?
I used to like jogging, if you'd believe it. Not so much anymore. But I have been thinking of picking up reading. Eventually.
Hobbies? Oh, I love arts and crafts. Look, I made my own bracelet. Oh, just wait right there and I'll go show you my other stuff.
Oh my, does, work count as a hobby? That's all I really like to do. Well, that and reading murder mystery novels.
Does napping count as a hobby? I don't really care about doing anything in particular, honestly.
Favorite hobby? I love really long walks. Naybrookes is a pretty big district, so it's pretty fun to explore it from time to time, and not to mention it gives me a good time to get out of the office and away from my partner and his crumb fingers.
I don't really have time for hobbies per se, but I suppose I do really enjoy just slithering around my house, looking upon the pictures, remembering the friends and families I had, the progress I've done for society and the good that I've done for it. Albeit, it is a very boring hobby, but it is mine nonetheless.
I enjoy reading in my spare time. Mostly just non-fiction. Well, I guess except for this one series called Cabin Wagon.
I love building little knickknacks and gadgets to add to my collection.
To Danny, how does it feel to know that you're still animated despite being dead? Don't you think that's a little out of the ordinary, or are you completely fine with it?
I do find it odd how I'm still managing to function with my major organs not working. But I don't really care why that is right now. We have a much more exciting and important case to work on at the moment.
To Frank, how did you get your job at the forensics lab? Did you go to some sort of little froggy school, or was it a passion that you spent a lot of time exploring, given how you had your sights set on becoming a detective?
Yes, we have schools down here, and no, they aren't froggy schools.
Although it would be a pretty good idea.
I was going to try to study to become a detective, but after getting shut down so many times, I took up the next best option. But don't get me wrong, I love my job. It just kinda sucks being told you can't do what you always dreamed of because of something out of your control, you know?
To Gracie, so how does the education system work in the sewers, or is there even one?
I can answer that, since my brother is currently in school. The education system works pretty much the same as it does for you surface dwellers. That is, you have general education until you hit 18. Then you get to pick what job you want to do and study to become that. I wanted to become a police officer to protect the people that I care about, so that's what I chose to pursue. However, after getting to know Jane and the forensics team, I just thought it would be so cool to be a forensics investigator.
To James, what's your favorite lollipop flavor?
Which to choose? There are so many different flavors of lollipops, it truly is very hard for me to say by definitive which one is my favorite. But I guess the one my heart gravitates to the most is the orange one. Orange flavored lollipops are truly underrated masterpieces.
To Jane, is there any meaning behind your bracelet?
My bracelet? Oh, let's just say someone very important gave it to me a long time ago.
To Lynn, have you given Goodman a hug, or wore her hat?
Detective Goodman? No, that would be unprofessional. And I don't know why I would need to wear her hat.
To Poppy, what technology is your favorite to use/build?
Any kinds of explosives, any kind of science is so much more fun with a boom, no?
To Randy, do you has stupid?
Yes, I admit it. And while I may be an idiot...
To Scarlett, Miss Jones, can you describe the comfort level of your home? P.S. How do you get that much sleep?
My home is fine. I was forced to move out here not too long ago for some reason. I really couldn't care less. How do I get this much sleep? I don't know. Like I said before, I call it my hobby or whatever.
To Perkins, do you have a favorite situation you had to dissolve with Campbell?
This is honestly the only big case Campbell and I had this far. And the way it's playing out, I don't know if we're gonna get a big case pretty much ever again. I do enjoy the patrols we get to take, even if I have to carry him back at the end of the day. He's a loyal partner.
To James, do you prefer your monocle or your lollipop?
Well, normally I should say my monocle since I'm required to see. But I really like my candy. I think I'd rather have the lollipop, honestly. It doesn't make sense. It's just so good. Do I have an addiction?
To all, how do you keep a secret?
I'm, not the best at keeping secrets, honestly. I normally have to tell someone.
Don't be dumb and spill the beans.
Oh, I guess I normally write it down. At least that way I can get it out of my system. And what makes you think I have secrets, huh? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry for my little outburst.
Oh, you can tell me anything, and I'll never tell a soul. Honest.
Well, I suppose you just have to keep it to yourself.
Usually I just forget what the secret is. It's worked for me so far.
Shut your mouth. It's not that difficult.
Oh, I am terrible at keeping secrets. So don't ask me.
To Danny, do you ever wonder what your life was like before you died and lost your memory? Can you imagine your former self being in the ABS?
Very briefly, and on incredibly rare occasions. No sense in trying to reclaim the life I used to have whenever I'm enjoying the one I've got right now. And if former me was a member of the ABS, that would be absolutely hilarious. God, could you imagine? Oh man, if I was anything like I am now, I wouldn't have been in that nonsense poster racket that seemed to impress that lazy blue bunny. No. I'd be doing something much cooler, like trying to infiltrate the MBPD. I'm kidding.
To Frank, bro, are you good? All these flashbacks and such got me really concerned, dude. Especially in episode 2. Basically, do you need a hug? And do I need to kick Danny in the shins?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Just been a long day. But we are narrowing it down. I can feel it. Also, please do.
Hey!
To Gracie, what was in your book bag and why did you choose to hide it from your friends?
It's nothing important. I just use it to carry my textbook around.
To James, is that a real monocle or are you just faking it for the looks?
Why, of course it's real. You think I'm just wearing this thing for the hell of it? It's helpful when examining crime scenes and whatnot. Like a little magnifying glass. Although I also require it because that's my lazy eye. It requires a bit more of a magnification. Not enough to where I need glasses per se, but just the one. It also looks fancier. Wouldn't you agree?
To Jane, what's ghost life like?
Spooky! On a more serious note, just kind of lonely. There were many things I wish I could have done differently, that maybe if that night I had just... Oh my! I'm sorry! I'm probably taking up too much time!
To Lynn, are you ever happy? Do you need a hug?
Of course I'm happy from time to time. There's just a time and place for it, and you have to stay professional while at work. And what is with you guys asking if I need a hug? I'm fine.
Aww. Come on, Lynn.
Not now, Goodman. Get back to work.
He's just a little touchy from time to time.
To Poppy, what is your favorite gun and why do you not own it?
Oh, I own lots of guns, but my favorites are the ones I make myself. So I wish I could play with Sir Yoster's gun sometime, but he just won't let me.
For the last time, Barnes, this gun isn't some fancy gadget of yours.
Oh, I'll get it someday.
To James, you said that the director of the MBPD is also a mayor and that their identity is highly classified. But have you ever seen them in person?
Of course I have. The director is a very busy person and does not have time to deal with every single person that works at the NBPD. Like you said, their job is similar to that of a mayor, and they have to deal with not only the various cases, but also the day-to-day activities of the Neighborhoods District. This is why there are various officers like me who take on more important cases like the ABS investigation, so the director can focus on all the other tasks. And as for their identity, yes, it is strictly classified for... Well, never mind. Needless to say, the director is a wonderful person and a very close friend of mine.
To Randy. Hi Randy, big fan. So as a fellow simp I have to ask, what makes you attracted to all of these women?
Oh, well. When you look around and everyone around you is just so... Wait a minute, simp? What's a simp? Frank, do you know?
To Scarlett, if you had the opportunity to take back Randy, would you take it?
Hell no! That bridge is burned and we are never going back to it.
To Officer Perkins, do you like donuts?
To answer that question, I do. I just don't normally eat until lunch. Well, unless your name is Campbell, and then I guess I can make the exception.
To anyone, what is your favorite movie?
What's a movie?
Hmm?
We have books. Does that count?
Oh, if we're talking about favorite books, why don't you go ask Lynn? He's a massive book nerd.
I heard that.
To James, why are you such a hated character?
Oh, I didn't realize I was a hated character. My apologies if I have upset you in any way.
To Danny, are you a zombie?
Can I get a real question?
To Danny, are you immortal?
Ah, see, that's more like it. I mean, of course I'm immortal. I was clearly able to escape death once before. Means I could probably survive just about anything.
I don't think that's how it works, Danny. You're still, rotten there. I'd say if you were to take enough damage, you'd definitely not be coming back a second time.
Thanks for spoiling my fun, Squish. Jeez.
To Frank, how does it feel to be bald?
Well, I have never known any difference since it's not exactly like I have fur.
To Gracie, do you have a favorite thing to do as a detective?
Oh, I love helping people out. Solving crimes is a ton of fun, especially when you have such a great partner to help you out.
To James, what is the charge for stealing from a candy store? Asking for a friend.
Well, thievery is thievery. But since it's just a local candy store, I'm sure it would be that much of a charge.
Oh, you wouldn't be mad that your precious candy got stolen. Oh, you would be.
No, Daniel. It's not even my candy.
Oh, don't try to lie.
To Jane, does your sister know about your death?
I'm sorry.
To Lynn, do you have any devices like cameras or equipment that is being used in investigations of cases?
No, unfortunately. That would be quite useful, but our power supply mostly goes to the calling alarms. We don't have the resources to make fully automated cameras quite yet.
To Poppy, what's your favorite type of gun, like self-made or others?
I am most proud of the guns I make myself. My most favorite one is the one Lady Fincher helped me make. It is my most precious one right now.
To Randy, if you took Scarlett back, would you be better than the first time?
I don't think there's any chance Scarlett would take me back. There are some things I want to tell her, but...
To Scarlett, how do you feel about your nickname of Blue Bunny?
It's dumb. Just like the person who gave it to me.
To Officer Perkins, how would you describe your partner Campbell, and how would you go forth finding him if you went to the station?
He would be a better officer if he put more time and effort into his work instead of his snack time. We have a scheduled lunch break. Besides, if he goes to the station, I know exactly where to find him, because instead of taking his scheduled lunch break like he's supposed to be doing, he always is eating and leaving me to do all the pickup work. He's always in the office.
To James, why did you scold Perkins so harshly when she was just doing her job? Do you have any plans to apologize? Do you feel bad for making her sad?
I was merely irritated that the two officers didn't go through with the proper crime scene procedures. That kind of negligence is unacceptable. I have no intentions of apologizing.
To anyone, do you like hamsters?
Ugh, a hamster stole my wallet once.
What? When did that happen?
A couple of months ago. I was walking home and I bumped into a hamster, and the next thing I knew, my wallet was gone.
You sure you didn't just drop it somewhere? You do that a lot.
Nope. Pretty sure it was the hamster.
To Danny, can I steal your kneecaps?
What kind of question is that?
To Frank, I understood that frogs need water to keep their skin protected. How do you live in the sewers? Do you jump into the narrow strips of water, or do you irrigate water for yourself?
Oh yeah, I like swimming. It's fun. Typically do it in the area closer to my house because it isn't exactly safe in certain areas.
To Gracie, does your family visit?
My brother and I are very close, but if I didn't have to see parts of my family again, I wouldn't be upset.
To James, what is your opinion on Lynn, Jane, Danny, and Perkins?
Detective Yoster is a fine head officer, if not a bit problematic from time to time. We were honestly quite shocked when he finally decided to take on a partner in Detective Goodman, Dr. Fincher. I honestly haven't interacted too much with her, although I don't know how I feel about this whole secret lab thing. A bit fishy indeed. Mr. DeComp. I pray I never have to deal with such an obnoxious, irritating citizen like that again. Officer Perkins is a fine officer, hence why I was so disappointed in her and her partner's work in this case.
To Jane, what is your favorite thing to do as a ghost?
I don't know. I guess I like to watch over my loved ones. I don't haunt anyone. Never! I would never do that. Well, maybe certain people. Moving on!
To Lynn, why must you be so cruel to Randy? Have mercy on the poor little bean.
I should not have behaved in that way. However, he is nothing more than a murdering mouse who killed Jane. The evidence dictates as such. He deserves what's coming to him.
To Poppy, do you have any secret talents that Sir Herod doesn't know you have?
I am a weasel of many talents.
To Randy, did you and Scarlet smooch?
Oh, wouldn't you like to know? You'd think I'd kiss and tell?
Yes. And judging from the fact you need to update me every time you talk to a girl, I'm gonna go with no.
What? No. Ah.
To Scarlet, what's your favorite tea?
My favorite tea is honey tea with lemon in it, but anything cheap will do.
To Perkins, if anybody tried to swap Campbell from being your partner to another person, how would you feel?
Trade anyone for Campbell? He's my partner. He was assigned to me since day one. Sure, he can abandon me and be insufferable from time to time, but I wouldn't trade him away like that. I'm an officer. I am loyal to the people I work with. At least Lewis can count on me for that.
To anyone, do you like Oreos?
Ooh, what's an Oreo? Sounds yummy.
I think Campbell mentioned something about those once. By now, I'm pretty sure he is one of them.
To Lynn, Gracie, and Danny, any favorite colors?
I'm a big fan of the color blue myself.
Orange! I don't know, it's just so bright and happy.
Pink.
Wait, really? I didn't know that.
It's a nice color, okay?
Oh my god.
To Danny, why are you such a bad detective? And why have you not solved this case yet? Also, why did you shush Poppy when she recognized you?
Bad detective? You're calling me a bad detective? I've put together more than any of the idiot cops working in this precinct. What? But you know, what's the fun in rushing to a speedy conclusion here? Where's the joy in that? I swear, you're just ignorant.
Wait, Danny, there was another question!
To Frank, how does Danny act towards you off camera?
Danny is Danny. What you see is what you get.
Aw, come on, Squishy. You know we're the best pals in the whole wide world.
Please stop.
To Gracie, what did you do after Jane's death? Tidy up her office or just sleep in that day?
I don't want to talk about it.
To James, knowing Campbell played a part, will you punish him for not being there?
Oh, absolutely. They both have been removed from this investigation. There is no second chances for criminals.
To Jane, can you interact with physical objects?
Unfortunately, no. I cannot interact with the physical world.
To Lynn and James, is there relationships between the officers?
Why, yes. There are several officer ranks, including new recruits, officers, head officers, detectives, head detectives, and special agents. I am that of a special agent, so I have the authority to take on high-profile cases and boss the detectives around.
I am a head detective, so I am pretty much in charge of assigning cases to people and ensuring everyone is doing their jobs properly.
To Poppy, how do you feel about Jane's death? How do you grieve it?
I didn't know Lady Fincher for very long, but she was a good boss and a great friend. She meant a lot to everyone, especially Sir Harrod. I really feel for him. I know how important she was to him. Of course I miss her too. I just know how much of a toll this is going to be for him.
To Randy, hey, what do you plan on doing after you're freed from jail? If you're freed.
I'm gonna go home and take a long nap. And maybe get a sandwich. Or like 10. Wait, you said if. What do you mean if?
To Scarlett, do you have any talents?
I don't know. I don't really like to do much. All I'm really interested in is getting out of this hellhole and seeing what the surface dwellers call the sun, okay? Though I guess on occasion I like to sing, but I don't do it that often anyway.
To Frank and Randy, how the heck did you guys become friends? Just vibe with one another and call each other dope?
Hey, now Frank and I go way back.
Yeah, I was basically all alone when I was a kid since frogs aren't exactly common around here. So Randy's family sort of took me in. Randy's been my pal ever since.
The best of best pals. I knew him when he had a tail and everything.
Okay, Randy, enough of that.
What, am I embarrassing you?
To Danny, what are the perks of being dead?
Nothing to lose, baby. Clean slate through and through. Whatever happened in the past stays in the past. Also, don't have to worry about that eating or sleeping business that Squishy often taps out for. I do have to say, though, I do wish I had more of a sense of taste.
You have holes in your tongue, Danny. I think it would be expected that your sense of taste isn't exactly all there.
Stop crushing my dreams.
To Frank, what keeps on your head so well?
Not really sure. I just get the strangest feeling someone doesn't like it when I take it off.
To Gracie, got a crush?
Me? Maybe.
To James, did you know Jane before her death?
Vaguely. We have chatted on occasions, and I have worked with her and her old partner in the past.
To Jane, do you have any ghostly powers?
No, just a spirit. Ooh.
To Poppy and Lynn, is Nabrooks the only city in the sewers, or are there more parts and districts? Some of you have specific accents. How does that happen? Did you grow up in different parts of the sewer, or is it for another reason?
No, there are many other districts in the sewer. Nabrooks just happens to be the biggest one.
That is correct. Nabrooks takes up the majority of the sewer system down here, but there are smaller districts outside of it.
Yeah, like I am from the Witherford district. Oh, it's amazing there. I should go back sometime if it weren't for... never mind.
Yes. And I'm from the Barrison district. Moved to Nabrooks for a... reason. I don't plan on going back anytime soon.
To Randy, do you have faith in Goodman trying to help you? Same with Danny and Frank.
Oh, of course. I know I can trust Frank and Gracie for sure. As for the other guy, I don't know. Seems a bit sketchy. I guess you could say I smell a rat? Alright, fair.
To Scarlett, what do you do when you're not sleeping?
Well, on occasion I have to go to the stupid ABS meetings. I typically just go to see if there's any progress in finding the way to the surface world, which, more often than not, is a resounding no. And now we have some new protocols since some of our members have been caught doing some shady stuff, and it's all just such a big pain.
To Officer Perkins, what do you think of Officer Campbell?
Campbell is a good friend. but he does tend to wander off and not show up to work on time. I wish he would actually show up for once in his life, because I got shoved in the alleyway 2 hours before he showed up to work, and Lewis yelled at me about it and didn't even bother to yell at him for being late to the office.
To Danny, seeing as how you're dead, how does your central nervous system work?
I don't know, probably some electro-techno mumbo-jumbo that I really couldn't give a crap about.
Sir Decomp, if you just let me examine you, I could tell you how it works.
How many times do I have to tell you no?
To Frank, haha, shorty.
Is that supposed to offend me? Your rationality fills me with pity.
To Scarlet, what's the first thing you'll do on the surface?
I would love to take a nap in what is known as the sun. Lots of people in the ABS talk about it. It sounds nice.
To Gracie, if you become part of the forensics team, what will be the first thing that you do?
Well, I promise to tell a really good friend of mine. Then I'm going to work really hard to be the best member I can be. It will be hard leaving Detective Lynn Yoster, but I know this is something that I want to do.
To James, how's the ABS investigation?
I'm sorry, but that is classified information.
To Jane, speaking of ghosts, Danny is undead. Can he feel your presence or vice versa?
Oh, I am not sure who this Danny is, so I guess I will go with no.
To everyone, what would you do if it just so happens that you are in an animated TV show? You aren't real, nor will you ever be real. You are destined for one destiny and there are no possibilities. You are only written one specific way until the script changes. Life could just suddenly cease to exist after all the cases are finished. What are you gonna do? What do you have to say?
Hey, I got nachos. Did I miss something?
Hey, aren't those mine?
To Scarlet, what's your favorite food?
I like biscuits. They're cheap and I don't have to cook.
To Poppy and Frank, what do you like to do in your pastime?
Oh, I never really stop working, honestly. I get home and it's back to work. So, I guess occasionally I like to play darts.
Oh, well, like I said before, I like to sew. Just a nice way to pass the time and relax.
To Randy, will you go work at the bookstore again if you got the job?
Well, I hope I can. It didn't seem too hard to hold down a job like that. Unless we get robbed or something. Could you imagine? Like, who needs books that badly?
To Scarlet, do you know your way around the sewer?
Not really. Everything is so complicated and confusing. I know all the places I need to go. That's all I care to do exploring-wise.
To Officer Perkins, why don't you just take away Campbell's food?
Take his food away? You think I haven't even tried that? I swear, the man has more than one secret stash in the entire office. He could go to Lynn's office and probably find something better than what he's got already stashed in his drawers. Besides, I can't let my partner cry like that. You know how he gets when he doesn't have his calories.
To Danny, how are you able to think when you literally have maggots in your brain? Plus, you are undead. I need answers.
I don't have actual maggots in my brain. I was just messing with that stupid detective guy. Though now that I think about it, I guess it's kinda possible. Ugh.
To Frank, has Jane always been so paranoid?
Jane has always been a bit nervous, but up to her death, I suppose in a way she seemed more jumpy? Maybe I am just misremembering.
To Scarlet, do you have any friends?
Talking to people is a pain. But I do have 2 friends. Tyler Peters and my older sister.
To James, do you work alone or with a group?
I normally investigate by myself, but when I deem it necessary, I bring a few officers or detectives with me on the case. Though, I will say, I still feel like I am the one doing most of the heavy lifting. Just a bit of bragging there.
To Jane, is there something in the sewer that scares you, or are you just extremely paranoid?
Oh, I suppose. No, what I mean is, I'm just kind of nervous, I suppose.
To Poppy, has Price been treating you good?
Oh yes! Lady Price and I are the best of friends. She lets me use all of my fun experimental knickknacks. Right now we are working on a high-profile case involving a She probably wouldn't want me telling you about that. Never mind. You didn't hear anything.
To Randy, where's your favorite place to go in the sewer?
There is this one place I like. It's got all kinds of games there, and you can even win some cool prizes. It's how I got my cool hat. And it's also where I met some really cool girls. I should call them.
To Scarlet, why can't you run away to the surface, or are you being forced to stay?
All known sewer gates are blocked off with some kind of seal, like someone is trying to keep us down here. Not only that, the areas in which water dumps stuff from the surface is like trying to climb a waterfall. Needless to say, it's quite annoying.
To Perkins, who brings in the donuts, or do you all make them?
I'm not too sure how they get in the office. I just know we have a snack room and there always seems to be some there every morning. Though I'd chalk it up to blaming Camp Bell for bringing it in.
To Danny, can you make contact with the spirit world?
No. If I could, this case would be a lot less fun. I would just be able to contact Jane and ask her who killed her, and that's just boring.
To Frank, what was your relationship with Jane before she died?
Jane and I don't know. I can't just imagine working without her. She was always so kind and helpful. Even if we would mess something up, she always seemed to find a way to fix it. I have never seen someone so determined and so thoughtful. She was my closest friend and mentor.
To Poppy and Gracie, impressions of one another?
Oh, Poppy? I don't know her all that well, so I only know she only started working here recently, but I would love to get to know her more, especially if I get the chance to work on their team.
Lady Goodman really needs to stop bursting into our lab. But other than that, she's cool.
To James, how do you feel knowing Jane was a part of the ABS?
It's quite frustrating. I haven't had time to properly investigate the area yet, but needless to say, it is indeed quite frustrating.
To Poppy, did you make your attire or is it a work uniform?
My brother and I picked our hats together back in our hometown a while back. I bought the goggles myself, and Lady Fincher was nice enough to give me my vest. That was so sweet of her. I love it so much.
To Randy, will you try to better yourself after this event?
Well, I plan to. I've had a lot of time to reflect in my cell, and I think I can at least start with smoothing things out with Scarlet. I know I may have broken her heart, which may have led to her framing me for murder, but can't help but feel like there's a big dead rat in the room for us to address. More than one, even? No offense, literal dead rat.
To Scarlet, do you own any shops in the sewer? You should do tea.
That sounds like a lot of work, but I guess it's a nice thought.
To Perkins, would you purposely embarrass Campbell, or is it the other way around?
This followed up to the argument we had in the office while we were enjoying the donuts that were brought in. There was this one time, I made it so his chip bag would explode when he opened it. That was pretty funny to watch. Chips everywhere for the next week.
To Danny, why are you so good at figuring out what happens at crime scenes without being there yourself before you died?
Most of the information involving certain events I've gathered from Squishy, such as him and Ferret Face being the only two to witness that idiot mouse pick up the scalpel. Now, whether or not he's hiding certain information from me, I wouldn't know. I'm not a mind reader. But knowing my little squishy buddy, I doubt he would do such a thing.
To Frank, do you think Randy will ever find love?
Yeah, Frank. Do you?
You stop being an idiot for 5 minutes, maybe.
So you're saying there is a chance?
Oh my gosh.
To Scarlet, if given the chance, would you try to save Jane, aka the squirrel?
I suppose. I wouldn't put myself in any danger, though. I hit my calling alarm, and that's all I could really do, honestly.
To James, do you think Herod could ever prove himself?
I suppose. I am more just concerned with him getting hurt. There are criminals who don't hold back. It is not my intention to hurt his feelings.
To Randy, do you like horror movies? And if not or yes, which ones have you watched?
Well, while I'm not too sure what a movie is, I would really rather not read anything to do with horror. My life feels like a horror book right now.
To Danny, probably a spoiler question, but out of the 3 suspects, Gracie, Lynn, and James, do you have an idea who might have killed Jane?
Yep.
What? That's it?